Okay, introducing my next special guest now. I'm glad to have on my show now. We've got an Australian artist. We have Lance Friend joining me on my show. Hello, Lance. How are you today?
I'm great, Dan. How you going?
Yeah, good, thanks. Great to connect with you. Nice chatting with you just before the interview, just kind of like, break the ice, so to speak. How is life treating you today?
Yes, still recovering from Christmas and New Year's, and probably got a few pounds to lose, but that's all right. That happens every
Yeah.
year.
Did you have a good one?
Yeah, no, it was great.
Good to hear. And of course, I know that you're in Australia. Where are you situated, like in the land of Oz?
Oh, in Queensland, I live on the Fraser Coast, which is Fraser Island's a big, largest sand island in the world. It's straight across from us, so it's paradise.
Sounds lovely just talking about it.
Yeah, no, I'm really lucky to live where I live. So,
Incredible. And for the benefit of my listeners, how long have you been like making music for?
well, I've been I've been a recording artist in the country scene in Australia for 20 years. That was when my first single came out, 2004. But I've been singing longer than that. I just used to do clubs and pubs and same as everyone else. And one day I found my calling with the country music about 24 years ago, and I started playing at a few campfires, and people liked what I did. And the rest is history type of thing.
Yeah. So it's always been a lifelong passion.
No, not really. I
Uh,
just I sort of I didn't start playing music till I was about 28, and
okay.
just casually, and then people kept saying, "Geez, you sing pretty well," and yeah, and eventually it just happened, which is lovely. It sort of it's not like something that I chased as a kid.
Yeah,
It,
sure.
it just happened, and now it's a huge part of my life.
Yeah. But it's definitely got you to where you are now.
Yes, yes, it's lovely. I'm actually going. We got a big country music awards and festivals down in Tamworth, like they do in Nashville in America. That's our big one in January, and I've been
Yeah.
lucky enough to be nominated for a few awards. So yeah, that always makes it a bit more rewarding when everyone else is sort of listening to your music as well.
Yeah, very good. Very rewarding when that happens to be nominated for like, awards.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I'm actually playing there, so it's going to be a drive. It's only down the road from here. It's only about 10 hours.
Yeah,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
The next question, going straight into one of your singles you're promoting, presently called Moments. How is it going with this record and like being received by the general public?
Oh yeah, no, it's getting great response here in Australia, and I've been doing a lot of interviews and whatnot on radios and different things. Don't get to do too many Zoom meetings, and this early in the morning, sort of in my time to your time. But no, it's going well. I get very well received through all radio and music channels over here because I've had quite a few songs out over the years, and
Mm.
I don't have to knock the door down, so to speak.
And on Moments as well, when you were like writing this song, putting it together, where did you draw the inspiration from making Moments? What inspired you?
Well, I was at a big festival um, in Queensland called the Gympie Music Muster. It's a huge a festival. It's probably one of the best in the world. And I was just right. I saw a bloke named Slim Dusty play for the first time, and he'd been around for years, very well known. And I just started penning some lines down. And then as the few years went on, I'd write another verse and I wrote a whole bunch of verses and then just picked the ones that I wanted. And, you sort of because moments happen all the time in your life. Everyone's just had New Year's Eve, and it could have been something special. Christmas is always a moment. So moments always continue on in your
Mm.
life. So it's pretty easy to draw other inspiration.
Sure, that makes sense. And with like Moments, with the single cover, when you listen to it on streaming platforms, you see like the artwork or the art cover. How's you on stage punch in the air? Was that were you performing to an audience? when that
Yes,
screenshot was
yeah,
captured.
that's one of that's one of the live shows. I've had a lot of great live shows, and you get that moment where you punch
Yeah,
the air, and I just thought it was a good, well, my publicity team and that they just thought it was a good idea for that shot because it's moments that was a moment. I think I was playing at 2,000 people, so you tend to feel the moment,
yeah.
so to speak.
Yeah, reminds me of Bruce Springsteen when he used to do that, in the 80s when he used to like perform in the concerts. He used to like, punch the air to the crowd.
It's probably where I stole it from.
Amazing. And with moments, have you managed to like put together like a YouTube video, or are you just focused on the audio side of like music?
Yeah, well, I didn't do a video for this. I've done a lot of videos for. I did one for the song that I've been nominated for, the one before this. And to be honest, life is pretty busy sometimes, and you just don't get to do videos for everything.
Mm,
Like the next song that I'm bringing out, if I get a chance to do a video clip, I'll do it. But you know,
yeah,
it's all time and money and everything
sure.
takes. It's a great song, and I just sort of released it as a song because it was coming up before Christmas, summertime in Australia too, and it mentions a bit of summer nights, so it'll be a bit cold over there at the moment for that vibe.
Yeah, of course. And you mentioned you've been like say like performing music, recording music for like 25 years. Along the way, have you made any big sacrifices to get to where you are now? Has it been like a smooth journey, or have you had to face challenges along the way?
Well, music's a journey. Like it's not about getting there; it's about when you first start in music, you're trying to get somewhere, and you don't realize all the things that are happening in your life are the big parts of your life, and you tend to be striving all the time. Where now I sort of cruise along and just enjoy the moments that
Mhm.
happen. But yeah, music's a struggle, especially with today. You can't sell CDs because everything's electronic, and so it's quite hard for a lot of musicians are struggling financially. But look, I'm pretty sure there's not too many artists out there in the world that made any money before they died.
Mm, 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 mm. I'm with you on that one. I'm with you. And also, just talking to you about one of your other tracks from your back catalogue. Was it Missing You? That's gone down well with on streaming platforms, like well over 10K, which is five figures. That's good.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's the one that they've nominated me for Song of the Year and male vocalist and all of that sort of stuff at the awards. So yes, it went over really nice. It's a beautiful song. When I recorded that one, I thought it was something special, and I've released a lot of singles off my new album,
Mm,
and that was one that I sort of didn't have a few close friends mention it, and normally you sort of test things out on certain people, and I'm thinking, wow, they're not hearing what I'm hearing, and then a few people went, wow, this song's got to be out there, and it's a pretty nice sentiment. It's about a mate of mine's mum. She passed away, so it was a reflection of her dad, his dad looking, feeling the missing of the mum of his mum and that. So yeah, it's a beautiful song. Look, most of my songs they're all different. I've got the song before that I had out Windscreen View, which was a pretty rocky sort of number, and it's sort of about looking out the windscreen in Australia and just all the things you see.
mm. Like absorbing the scenery and
Yeah, yeah, and that's how a lot of stuff gets written. I write a lot of songs when I'm driving in the car because you can draw inspiration whenever if you're driving in the countryside anywhere, you can really get some inspiration. I don't get a lot of inspiration in the city. I'm a country bloke, so usually it's the road out of the city is my favourite part.
And another track you released was called Ned Kelly Said. Would you say this is a fan's favorite? Was Ned Kelly a notorious bandit outlaw as well?
Yeah, he was a bushranger. They call it a bushranger here in Australia, and it was back in the days in the late 1900s when uh, police at the time as well didn't really have anybody to answer to. If you know what I mean, you could get away with a lot more and shoot someone and get away with it. So they were pretty harsh on him. Look, he would have probably been a rat bag at the same time. So in Australia, he's a legend. He's a and then some people are like, "Ooh," because today's a bit more sensitive than it used to be, and so and they're like, "Well, he's a criminal," and rah rah rah. But like I used to say, he only ever shot a couple of coppers.
That's what I like about country music. It's a good storyteller. It's storyteller.
Yes, and that's one of my favourites because growing up as a kid in Victoria, you used to go up to Glenrowan and you'd see this Ned Kelly with the helmet and all of that. It's just such a great story because like history in Australia to overseas, our history is 250 years, where everywhere over in Europe's thousands of years.
Mm.
It's a big, and that's one of our histories. And he's probably the biggest icon in Australia, the most recognisable. So it was the easiest song I ever had to sell.
And one of your albums you released probably like 12, 13 years ago was called Lance Friend, the album. Do you still enjoy
Yes.
performing tracks from this one? I did take a listen to Fast Talking Cowboy, which I liked, and I like Girls, Girls, Girls. That caught the attention of my ears as well.
Yeah, look, I play that. I still play them. I performed at the Gympie Muster this year, like I said, it's one of the big festivals. And if I didn't play a lot of the songs off of that, the people in the audience would be, it's their favourites now. So I continue to play them songs, and yeah, I love them, and they don't seem to date. So that's what's so good about it for me. They're not. Uh, I could have released them today, and they'd still work.
Timeless.
Well, hopefully they will be one day.
Mm. And as a musician, do you like to just like release single by single? Some people like that rather than having to like have the pressure of making an album. Do you find doing like single releases, going along, at your own pace? Do you prefer that
Well,
of doing things?
well, the way I've recorded, I've all my singles have come off albums, so I just record. I just do an album, which is probably crazy in this day and age because everything's all singles and stuff like that. But my latest album, All Australian Made, that's got the Ned Kelly song on it. It's
Mm.
got Missing You. It's got a whole bunch of great songs on it. And yeah, I like albums because you get a collective of a person where they are in their life at the time when they're writing it, when they're recording it. So it's like a journey, and I think a lot of music gets missed these days because it's all singles. I think everything's goldfishy,
Mm.
3 second attention span, and the whole singles. Where back in the day you'd have, the back in the day, only 10 years ago, people would be still listening to albums. So yeah, I kind of favour. I'm going to record a new album this year, actually. So yeah, and that way you get 10 singles already recorded.
Yeah. Because I know the traditional way, especially like in the mainstream charts, they like to release singles and then maybe a few more singles to keep the listener or the fan to buy the album. But it's interesting you said you do the album and then just like release the singles that way first.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I did put a couple of songs out before the album came out, and then of course I did the same sort of process,
Hmm.
and then then like now I'm sort of probably got one more left to go off of this album. But I do studio albums. Like we're all in the studio. I've got some of the best players in the country, and we're actually recording in a studio, not sending tapes off to or music off to everyone, and they're all sending you back the bits that they put on. We were actually, so it's got a real vibe. Most of my songs have that vibe, and
Yeah.
I wouldn't like to do it any other way because I'd feel like I'm cheating my own music because everything for me is when I write a song, music's got to feel about the words. It's
Hmm.
got to have that. It's got to capture how I'm feeling when about the words as well. So I wrote a song years ago called "Family Oh Family," and it was everyone's got family and you can all get annoyed at your family, so it had to have a bit of punch to it. It was like because like I wasn't happy at the time, so I like to bring in that into the actual melodies and everything like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm pretty fussy when it comes to recording music.
Mm. It's nice to have that authenticity sometimes.
Yes, absolutely, and I know, and it shows because people come back and they're so, or people that haven't heard me, and when they hear my stuff, they're so surprised at the quality of the of what we turn out.
Mm,
So
mm. And which bands or singers have been like your inspiration over the years and decades? I mean, like Kenny Rogers is, um, an icon is in his own right. Johnny Cash, some of the classic country artists, or
it's funny. I played on the same stage in 2013 at the Gympie Muster with Kenny Rogers. So
oh
that was
wow.
a pretty big thrill for him. No, for me. Yeah,
And
look, a lot of inspiration on music. Growing up as a kid, it's whatever music. I mean, I always loved the Beatles.
mm,
Uh, Anything from the glam rock days to whatever was out, And I found country music probably 25 years ago in Australia when I was traveling around the country doing my trade. And I had a mate that used to put the music on, and I could relate to it when I was where I was. And then I moved out into a 40 acres, and yeah, I lived the life, and now I'm 100%. I only kind of listen to country. So as far as a country influence, I'd probably say Garth Brooks and blokes like that are great songs. I really like great songs that the words of that make you sort of stand up and listen. So that's probably more so. But Johnny Cash, I love Johnny Cash. When I was a kid, you see him on the telly, and yeah, they were always great concerts, and he just had such a lovely presence about him.
that's great. And finally, where can people find you on like social media? Like TikTok or Facebook or
Oh yeah, Facebook. It's Lance Friend Music, and I think Lance Friend Music on Instagram. Website lancefriend.com. What's that? Oh, day.au. My wife's just telling me that give me the
yeah,
instructions.
that's
So,
great.
but yeah, and you can buy and download all the stuff off all the main sites where music's found. But on my website mainly is probably the best way to download the stuff.
Yeah.
Amazon. I don't download music, so my wife does all of that.
Well, thanks very much for joining me on today's show. Just to find out a little bit more about, yourself and your music. And of course, we've got time to play your new track, doing the rounds at the moment. It's called Moments.
Thanks very
Yeah.
much, Dan.
Thanks for joining me on the show. Nice to meet you.
You too.